They say Paris is the city of love, but when the Nazis marched in, love became a dangerous thing to wear on your sleeve or around your neck. That evening, I wore my scarlet scarf. It wasn't just for flair. It was a signal, a whisper wrapped in silk. My mother had tied it for me once before an opera night, her hands careful and soft, whispering, "Red is for love and courage." Back then, danger belonged to fairy tales. Now, the same silk meant life or death. I walked the Rue de l'Ouest with purpose. My fox terrier, Fifi, trotted beside me, her pink bow slightly askew, her small satchel bouncing against her side. She moved intently, her ears flicking, and she was always alert. She wasn't just my companion, she was my shadow, trained to follow silent commands. I tapped twice against my thigh. Fifi fell in close, nose to the ground, ready. The meeting point was a jazz club tucked behind a shuttered bookstore. Its rusted sign swayed like a dying pendulum. I pushed the door open and stepped inside, letting the war-stained city fall away. Inside, the air was heavy with smoke, spilled gin, and the low wail of a saxophone teaching Payne how to sing. A waitress with tired eyes wove between tables. A man in a wide-brimmed hat played cards with no one. Half-drunk piano notes floated under rationed light bulbs flickering weakly against the blackout curtains. I caught the faint scent of roasted chestnuts, mingling uneasily with the acrid smoke, a bittersweet ghost of a Paris that once danced under brighter lights. I moved to my usual table in the far left corner, facing the door. A waitress brought me a dark, bitter espresso. I stirred it 3 times counterclockwise and let the spoon clink softly, the signal. Moments later, a trembling hand slid a napkin beneath my saucer. Train. Track 7. Courier. Documents. 1700 hours. Don't be late. No signature, no pleasantries. Just urgency folded in paper. I didn't finish the espresso. I never did. Leaving a few coins, I gathered my gloves and stepped back into the gray twilight. Paris was dimming. Rationed streetlights flickered. Curfew vans prowled alleys, waiting for late souls. From a distant window, someone played a slow, mournful waltz. I paused by the Seine River, letting the cold slap my cheeks. Below, an underground train rumbled. Its vibration hummed through the stones like a restless heartbeat. A church bell struck 5. Time to move. Gare de l'Est station buzzed like an angry hive. Steam ghosts billowed from engines. German soldiers loitered, laughing too loudly, smoking too carelessly. Every laugh made my spine tighten. I spotted the courier immediately. He was tense, too aware. His grip on the briefcase was desperate. The radio from his sector had gone silent 2 nights ago, cut off, jammed, or worse. No time for encryption. No time for cleverness. Tonight, hand-to-hand was the only way to carry hope. Hidden behind a pillar, I studied the rhythm of the station, calculated exits, paced my breath, noticed the slow blink of a porter watching the soldiers, the sharp turn of a mother clutching her child tighter, and the silent nods exchanged by men who pretended not to know each other. I tapped Fifi once, steady. She matched my stride without a sound. As I crossed the concourse, a German officer, speaking with a woman powdered like a pastry, caught sight of me. His gaze stuck. "Mademoiselle!" I stopped, slowly, deliberately. Summoning every ounce of bored elegance, I turned. "Your dog," he said, eyeing Fifi. "Very clean, for the streets." "She prefers champagne to puddles," I replied lightly. "She's very French that way." The officer narrowed his eyes. Suspicion brewed. Then Fifi, bless her soul, barked once and lifted a paw, ready to shake. The soldier laughed. "Bonne soirée, mademoiselle." "And to you." We drifted toward the courier. I slipped the lipstick tube from my pocket, pretending to powder my nose, a lady's vanity easily overlooked. I twisted the explosive cap subtly, feeling the faint give beneath my fingers. I only had seconds until the timer triggered. Fifi barked once, sharply, a warning, as a German officer's steps turned toward us. I threw the lipstick tube behind a luggage cart as I passed. A few seconds later, a sharp hiss cut the air. Chaos bloomed. Screams tore through the station, steam and smoke roiled. Soldiers shouted. Boots hammered stone. The courier, eyes wide, thrust the briefcase toward me. I gripped it tightly and slipped into the churning mist, Fifi tight against my heels. For a heartbeat, I wondered if he would be all right. But hesitation could kill more than courage. I hurriedly disappeared into a narrow alley where I caught my breath. Fifi watched the street. With gloved hands, I opened the briefcase, papers, names. I tucked them into Fifi's satchel. She could outrun any man alive, but not a bullet. My heart skipped a beat, and sweat beads began forming on my brow. I had a photographic memory, a blessing and a curse. I could have memorized the list and left the papers behind. But memory can be beaten out of you, shot out of you. Hidden and fast paper was still safer than trusting my mind alone. I tossed the empty case behind a trash heap and melted into the city's folds. 2 streets later, we slipped into a laundrette. The scent of soap and damp cotton clung to the air. I paid a woman to swap my coat for a dark green wool coat with an inside pocket, perfect for secrets. I tied a fresh ivory scarf from my handbag, abandoning the red one down a drainpipe, watching the color vanish like a drop of blood diluted in water. Every day, I became someone else, a girl with gloves, a widow with no rings, a seamstress with perfect diction. My true self had become a rumor I whispered only to myself. We took the long way home, passing shuttered cafes, the blackout curtains trembling in the wind, curfew patrols whose boots clicked like metronomes against the cobblestones. At a small street stall, pretending it was still peacetime, I bought a baguette and left coins in a violinist's case. Fifi sniffed the girl's hand and wagged her tail. A man by a doorway glanced up, sharp-eyed, but said nothing. Later, I spread the documents on the small kitchen table in my apartment above Madame Lefebvre's flower shop. 6 names. Resistance leaders, and priceless about each of them. Some I knew, some I didn't. I ran my fingers over them like relics, feeling the weight of futures balanced on each line of ink. The transmitter I used was never kept long in one place. We moved it between flats, between hands, between shadows. Tonight, it was hidden beneath a loose floorboard beneath the kitchen table. Tomorrow, it would be somewhere else. I coded the list and tapped it through the radio in rapid Morse. Each click was a prayer, and each pause was a breath stolen from fate. I paused on the 5th name, Luc Morel. We had danced once, after curfew, beneath a broken street lamp. He smelled of burnt sugar and gunpowder. He kissed like a man running out of tomorrows. He had saved me once, too, at a checkpoint near Sharon. I froze. He didn't. He kissed me full on the mouth and told the guards we were newlyweds. They let us pass. Fifi barked once, short, triumphant, as if she remembered Luke, too. Then the knock, software deliberate. Julian Hart stood in the doorway. Droplets of rain were on his coat, and a smile was just behind his eyes. "You should be more careful," he said. "You should mind your own business," I replied. "That's the trouble, Scarlet. You keep making yourself mine." He walked in like he belonged. Fifi sniffed his shoes and didn't bite him. That was a compliment. Julian poured himself a glass of my wine without asking. I let him. He smelled of tobacco, old secrets, and faintly of gunpowder and lavender. A dangerous blend. Beneath it, another scent, something colder, almost metallic, that unsettled me more. "You stole something important today," he said, swirling the glass. "I do that sometimes." "Dangerous habit." "So is following me." He raised his glass. Touché. We sat in silence, the rain ticking against the window, counting down a clock we could not see. Who do you work for, Julian? I asked finally. He smiled like it was a game. Does it matter? It might. London, Berlin, depends on the hour. I stiffened. Joking or not? What did you mean earlier? I asked. That I keep making myself yours? He leaned in. It means I should walk away, but I don't. It means I know what you are, Scarlet, and I admire how you never apologize for it. He stood, touched my neck lightly. It suits you, he said, and then he was gone. I stood at the window for a long time, watching the city exhale beneath its rationed stars. Across the street, a radio murmured through static. Somewhere distant, a siren cried. Not an air raid, but something quieter, more intimate. On the table, next to an empty wine glass, lay a matchbook from a Montmartre club. I hadn't seen Julian take it out. Inside, scrawled in ink, soon. The clock ticked loudly in the hush. A door slammed 2 floors down. Paris breathed, and I did not. My name is Elise Whitmore, codename Scarlet. Some women keep diaries, I keep codes. Some women wear perfume, I wear blood and silk. And on certain nights, the only thing between life and death is knowing how to lie with conviction. That was episode 1 of Codename Scarlet, a timeless tale. In a city veiled in shadows, Elise Whitmore walks alone, but never without purpose. She carries messages, weapons, and memories like sharpened blades. And yet, in the spaces between gunpowder and silk, something else lingers. A name, a knock, a matchbook with a single word. Soon. Join us next time as the story deepens and the past refuses to stay buried. Next time on Codename Scarlet, an ambush in the tunnels, a betrayal too close to home, and a man Elise thought she'd never see again. Beneath the cobblestones, Paris holds its breath, and so does she. Come back soon. She'll be waiting.